Richard.
And I'm Robin.
My name is Lat Ware.
I'm John James.
My name is Ezra Hansen-White.
My name is Ben Esposito.
I'm Akira Thompson.
We are the Elsewhere Company.
Our studio is Midboss.
At the company Crooked Tree Studios.
I just formed a company, I guess, called Outbounds.
My studio is, I work for myself. I'm an indie developer, and I do everything there.
It's really hard to say, to be honest.
I'd say that indie games, if we were to sort of categorize the games, they would be more art-focused, more niche, more like looking at unique ways to use games as a storytelling medium or an expressive medium.
But not always.
But
That's
not
like
always.
our version of indie games, but there's also the version of indie games that are just these small guys making fairly traditional games, but on a smaller scale.
I like to think that it's something different, something unusual.
I mean, an indie game could be anybody in their house that just wants to make a game, whether it's on Twine, or with Unity, or with Unreal Engine, whether it's one person or a team of 5, maybe even a team of 10. That's kind of big.
It's something that's kind of personal and experimental. It tries to do something different and doesn't try to just recreate and retread on stuff that's already existed. Even if it's, if it's not the most successful thing, at least I made something that is very me, and that's why I'm working by myself.
I think they're really important. We're currently in an industry right now that's ran by mostly sequels and franchises, and those aren't bad. I certainly love Metal Gear Solid 5. They don't have the risk of being a multi-million-dollar project. They can take risks, they can be fresh and new and try new things.
Ideally, they're more quick, they're more nimble, they can make mistakes, try to do something crazy, it doesn't work. Then when something cool happens, it can really push the overall industry forward and learn from their mistakes or successes. So yeah, I think they're pretty important.
So indie games, I feel like they have a lot more influence than they did before. Games like Child of Light are coming out, and that's like Ubisoft, and many larger studios are now looking to indie games, I feel, as a way to get new ideas. Games that are different, games that have something to say, games that experiment a lot, have a lot more commercial potential than they used to. So the market is changing, and indie games are helping to prove that.
I feel that indie games are important to the industry because when you are working on multiple millions of dollars on a project, it's just logistically difficult to take a risk. With indie games, the costs are lower, and there's people that are more willing and more able financially sometimes to take some type of a risk and to try something new. And those ideas, either those people end up at the large companies or their ideas get incorporated in other games. And so I think indie games are instrumental to pushing games as an art form forward.
I was born to make games. I knew ever since I got a Game Boy with Link's Awakening on it, I was like, oh, my life is over. My life is gonna be video games. And yeah, so ever since then, I started programming on DOS machines, and I was making silly little games. And it's something that I feel really good working on, and I feel really good being able to share it with people because it's not them interacting with me, it's them kind of discovering themselves through the games, and so I try to facilitate that as much as I can in my work.
I decided to make Throw Trucks with Your Mind as an indie game because there's no way I'd be able to make that if I was working at a major studio. The concept is too far out there, too ridiculous, can you even do that? They need that kind of security given how much money is going into it.
I always wanted to make games since I was a kid. First I actually wanted to make robots, then I wanted to go into comics, and then after a while, whenever I would play my Sega Genesis, I thought, oh, I want to make games. And now I'm making a game featuring a robot that's kind of comic-esque in a way with a lot of dialogue, so I think I covered all my bases.
I decided to make games because I had some stories I would like to tell. I have things I would like to express, and I think games are an art form that hasn't been explored as deeply as we can yet. We've only scratched the surface, so I'm excited to dive in there and try some new things.
I've worked as a level designer at some larger companies, and then for deciding to start building my own projects, it was kind of I wanted it to be an escape, and just really do something different that I just felt was interesting and that I wasn't seeing in games yet. So I just kind of wanted to like set off and just do my own thing.
For me, it's really about the stories. I didn't go, oh, I really want to make games. I really want to make stories. My background is computer science and art, and the only way you can kind of combine those two things and tell stories is with games right now, I think.
For me, I grew up playing games. I love games, and I always felt like there's more to be used there. Like we can tell different stories. We can get people doing different things and make them engage with this new format in really interesting ways.